Thank you so much. And hello and welcome, everyone. I'm Kerstin Weng, Head of Editorial Content at Vogue Germany. And I would like to talk to you today about the community aspect and the circularity aspect, how this comes together and how important it is that this comes together. And so I'm not doing this on my own for sure, and I have very exciting guests, and I would welcome them on stage. So please come to me, everyone. So please take a seat, and then I will introduce everyone. So here we are with Herbert Hofmann. He is from Highsnobiety. He's taking care about buying everything creative. And as I look at your title, VP Creative and Buying, okay, this is what I already said, and I think Highsnobiety has no introduction, or there's no introduction needed, but nevertheless, this is a platform, a creative hub, it's a shop, it's like an institution, let's say. So a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Then we have Janina Otto. And she's Entrepreneuer and part of the very famous fashion family in Germany, Otto. And she is, with the Holistic Foundation, with her husband, very much into creating a platform and a community that help other people strive, to put it really in a nutshell what you do. So exciting to hear more about this. Welcome.
Thank you. Welcome.
And then we have Kirsty Keoghan from eBay. She's as a global channel manager from fashion, taking care about everything that is linked to fashion at eBay. This is like, it's a lot. And we will hear about that more. And then we have Shariff Vreugd. I cannot pronounce it on the correct way, so I'm sorry about my...
Perfect.
Yeah. How it is pronounced correctly? Sorry.
Vreugd.
Yeah.
Difficult.
Have to spend more time in Amsterdam, sorry. And he's co-founder of the very exciting sunglass brand REFRAMD. And you are really not only focusing on the product and sunglasses, but it's more like really a special intent. And that intent built a very great community. So I'm really happy that you're here. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you.
So, as mentioned, it's I used the word already a lot, community. So I would love to hear from you, what is the community that you are talking about? What defines community? And for example, is community really just people that are the customers for you? Or is it more even that the community is your team inside the company too? And on which values is a community based? So yeah, I start with you because I think at Highsnobiety, you have a really special access to this.
Yeah, it's a very big question because it's also something that everyone tries to achieve. Like every brand wants to be like a band. You want to have your fans, you want to have people around you, and it feels like everyone tries to buy it. Like you try you think you do 2 events and then that's it, and then you have a community, whatever that means. In the best case scenario, it happens that by doing the right things, meaning you do the right initiatives, you do the right content, you have the right opinion, in your opinion, whatever right means, is finding a response, and people are following you, also following in a sense that they like your opinion and they think that the lifestyle that you have, the things that you communicate, the brands that you like, the music that you like, is the same as you, and so you share it, and then you get inspired by other things you do. With Highsnobiety, starting from a more masculine sneaker and fashion streetwear blog, to now being, like you said, like we also have an agency side where we do a lot of consultancy for brands and try to tell them how a younger audience could like them more, or if is the product not good, or is what is it that they do wrong. From that side towards us being ourselves someone collaborating a lot with brands, with cafes, with croissant makers. It's super interesting to see how you tackle from different perspectives and then see also how the community reacts. Like then you really get the feedback if you did things the right way or the wrong way. But yeah, it's a very big topic, because if you're soulless and you have an empty product, as I often call it, when I go through the racks and I see why is this pair of pants here? Is it because, yes, we also need that kind of pant for someone out there? When you have empty product and no message to and no opinion, then it's very difficult to get fans and a community that actually likes what you do.
What I think is very interesting is that the community thought that everyone, as you mentioned, is very keen right now, is changing the way the, let's say, old-fashioned communication went. So in former times, it was like a company talking to the customer, and this was like a funnel. Now, when we talk about breaking barriers, the community thought is taking this upside down, because now the community is reacting with the brand and with the company, and for it, I think it's for you very important too, right, Shariff?
Yeah, it's quite interesting for us because as a founding team, we are actually part of the community that we are serving. A bit of what REFRAMD is doing is that we create eyewear for an inclusive world, which means that we believe as a company that most of the eyewear designs are designed around Eurocentric facial features. Myself, I have a lower and wider nose bridge, which means that lots of eyewear products are not suitable for me. So our customers are actually they're facing the same problem, and that creates a sense of unity. It's the goal of the company to make the eyewear industry more inclusive, and that goal actually resonates with our customers, because most of them have been having issues for a longer time finding correct fitting eyewear. So I think that what we're trying to do is very strong, and people really feel part of something bigger. So in sense of community, we're kind of fighting for the same cause.
Interesting, yeah. So, and I think with eBay, it's actually very special, because your community is like interacting with each other by thought of the product itself, because this is how it is intended, that the community is reacting with each other. Yeah. But is there something you are absolutely focusing on when talking about community and how they communicate with each other, and what you are striving for?
Yeah, I mean, so like over 25 years ago, when eBay was set up by Pierre, the founder, it was to empower community. So he had a broken laser pointer, and rather than throw it away, he listed it on, it wasn't called eBay back then, but he listed it, and then someone from another part of America brought that laser pointer. So it was about bringing that community, creating a community where we could reduce waste. And now community means lots of things to eBay. So we have a really big seller community. So sellers want to be successful. They want to learn from each other. A lot of businesses on eBay are smaller entrepreneurs, and they work alone. And so we run events where we can bring sellers together so they can learn how to be better businesses, how they can think about collectively feeding back to eBay on things that we should be doing to support them and make their businesses better. But also our buyer community as well. Like, how do we make the experience as easy and frictionless as possible for them, so that they can list all their fashion items, for as an example, and stop them being thrown away. And so we spend a lot of time with our buyer and seller community. But also more recently, we really think about how we can bring brands together. And so being at events like this, working with our fashion councils, is really important to understand what's on brands, what's on designers' minds, so that we can think we're a big company and we've got a corporate responsibility. How do we find solutions to really help some brands enter? We're here to talk about circularity as well. How can we help them break down some of those barriers and make being more circular businesses just more achievable? It's really tough for brands and designers when they've got a lot of other things to think about. So there's that side of it. And then there's our team. So we talked a bit earlier about we have got a lot of employees, so 20,000 employees, plus all the agencies and partners that we work with. And very much as a lot of the team here today, we live and breathe being the customer. So we are encouraged to be a seller and be a buyer all the time, and live and breathe the experience that our community is experience on eBay or in the market, or what challenges they're facing all the time. So it means lots of things to us, and that's why it's really important.
Mm-hmm. Janina, your company, let's call it company, the Holistic Foundation, is only working with the community, because what you do is all about for the community. How is the feedback and how to react? So everything you set up is like, in purpose to make the life of the community better and to help them, to support them. Is there a special way of communication that you choose to get feedback from the community?
I would say with the Holistic Foundation, we try to see everything as an ecosystem. And I think it's the decade where community is so important, because nobody has all the intelligence alone. You know, when you want to build a brand, for example, you won't have all the skills you need to make it really successful. So having a community, talking to people, seeing, okay, where are my strengths, where are strengths of others, where can we come together, is so important. And we have so many chances today with digitalization and everything. So and we always try to build a framework, you know, because we have this approach that we say, no, we don't have the intelligence of our own how to make everything, but together with the community we can. So we try to build the framework and invite the people to interact with us, interact with each other, and also go in their topics where they are good at and want to work. So because we are quite convinced that they will make the best examples then and help to find great solutions for challenges of our time. So we are trying to see everything, really from the top, and just building everything to make the world for the better with the community.
You said that, I think this is very interesting. You said that you want to capture every need with the community, with the help of the community. And with this, I think this is a very new approach to make sure you get something out of the community too that is beyond what your original purpose is. And is it something that the community management, because I often feel that, you know, everyone is talking about the community and the community is key and it's so important, but when it comes to the management of the community and how to make sure the community is heard and taken care of, there's sometimes, you know, like a gap. How do you make sure that this is not the case in the Holistic Foundation, for example? So how do you have community management, for example?
Yeah, kind of. And I think what is very important is to have strong values, you know, also values in our team, but also be on the same page when it goes about how do we want to communicate, how can we really work good together, being not just ego-driven or anything, but really all together for the best solutions of different topics. So I think that is very important, and always be open-minded, because when I am also working as an entrepreneur, talking to people, for example, you know, with AI specialists, for example, you know, I'm not really good at it, but I think we have to get a feeling, also like kind of a framework, just to see, okay, are the values the same? Is the purpose kind of the same, what we want to reach? And then really, you know, just get this constructive way. I think that's very important to, It's important that people are not ego-focused, but also for the great, better good for everyone.
Absolutely. How has fashion changed to the better with the circularity in mind? So when we talk about circularity, mostly it's like the production funnel, but circularity can be so much more, like the whole circle. How is it at eBay, so that you approach really to make sure that this circularity is felt as a holistic process?
Yeah, I mean, it is circular by its name, and there are parts that we at eBay try to lean in where it makes sense. And our main mission has been over the years has been to help prolong the life cycle of items so that they don't end up in landfill or just not being used. And so that's why we think about how, what people know us for is selling secondhand and refurbished goods. What we've done more recently, where a lot of brands that sell on eBay have come to us and said, how can you as a brand help us think about this? So we've tried to go sort of further up the supply chain. Now, we don't produce any goods ourselves or buy any goods, so we have no warehouses, so to speak, that hold stock. So what we've tried to do is take some of that heavy lift off of our brands and sellers by going further up. So we heard about digital passports earlier, so we acquired a company called Certilogo to, provide another solution to put digital passports in there. You can enable resale on eBay. So taking that friction out for brands, providing traceability. There's a lot of legislation as well. And then also working with experts in the field that can perhaps take some of those second-hand items from brands and refurbish them or repair them, photograph them, sell them on behalf of brands and sellers. And so we're typically known for it's consumer to consumer selling secondhand goods, but we've now tried to empower that brands can come to us and we can provide solutions to go sort of further up the supply chain, and that brands can be involved in that post secondary market where they hadn't perhaps been involved before. And we heard about, it's great to be able to interact and learn more about brands. And actually, if you first buy something secondhand, there's a chance that you've learnt more about that brand, what it's doing to drive sustainability, that then you might think, right, I've learnt more, I will go and buy them from a new product, right? So we're really trying to think we have this part to play. How can we expand that and have a much bigger part in that? And working with garment recyclers. So, there's a lot of items that can't be sold. It's difficult for one brand alone to be able to recycle many of those different components. And so we're trying to help consolidate that so that eventually in a world where we can go from fibre to fibre, and it's much easier for industry and sellers to do that, because we've got a lot of small sellers as well that this is just quite difficult for them to think about and achieve.
Shariff, you are producing products too, so the holistic thought about circularity, how is it at REFRAMD?
So our products are produced on demand. We don't have any stock. When there's an order coming in, we will send that to the manufacturer. So that's actually the core of the company. We started with 3D printing because it was just cheaper to start that way. And we kept on going with that approach, which makes the business very lean and automatically more sustainable than a bigger eyewear company that produces thousands of frames. The products are also biodegradable. So what we do is when a customer, or at the end of the lifetime of the product, the customer can send the products back. We haven't been long enough in business to receive a lot of products back. But on the other hand, it's also important, I believe, to educate the customer about why we do those things. We notice that most customers, our customers at least, are not necessarily focused on sustainability or circularity. It's more that they need something that fits them. So that's their main issue that we're solving. And I believe for organizations that we work with, it's much more important, this sustainable part of the business, which is very interesting. But in terms of economics, it does make a difference. But more for PR purposes, it really is very helpful for us.
Mm-hmm. So I think the education aspect is interesting, because education and teaching values or letting know about values is very important in the communication with the customers or with the community, and even within the team. And Herbert, you have, I think, a very interesting approach at Highsnobiety, that you are communicating values, let's say, teach the community, the customer, with the help of the team, because you make sure everyone is on the same page. Do you want to share what you do?
Yeah, there's the bigger picture, which is always the difficult part, because we have an editorial team that is writing about things and says like, buy less, do this, do that, this is good, this is bad. And then there is my part that is like a shop that tries to sell stuff, and it sometimes collides. So that is one thing. Also, I sometimes feel like I'm in a completely wrong job, because I'm telling everyone to buy less, and I myself don't buy a lot, and I buy a lot of vintage now because it's more interesting and it's less out there and so on. It's not so exciting to go to a shop and buy everything that everyone can buy somehow. I think, and the other topic I think that you mean is an ERG that I have, like an energy group at Highsnobiety, which is called High Pride. We have one for women and non-binary identifying people in the company, one for POC people, and like we. My part is like leading, as I'm the old gay guy in the company, to teach the younger queer people how to speak up when things are not right. So there is brand partners that are coming to us with a big bag of money and they want to work with us, but then we have our councils, let's say, that are saying, no, we don't want to work with this brand because they don't stand for the same values as we do. So we meet up. And we are quite a big group now. We are 50 people of queers, like from gay, lesbian, bisexual, whatever, and our allies helping us, listening to us, what we are talking about, what our struggles are. We also sometimes just as a group go and drink and do bar hopping and stuff like that. But it's very important for me to pass on messages or values that I think are worth speaking up. You know, you arrive as a young person in a company, and you're very humbled, and you got a job, and then you don't dare to speak up. And I don't want that actually to happen. It's and therefore you need to educate younger people sometimes how you speak up and how you make yourself heard, and everything that we speak about. And when there is something happening that we are not happy with, we meet and we talk and we write things down, and then sometimes myself go to the big bosses and tell them what we feel. And I'm very happy to see that it's being heard, what we talk about. I think it's a little bit along the lines of what you mentioned before, that sometimes those things are existing, but it's like, yeah, thank you for the information. But then things are being done because money speaks most of the times. But yeah, I'm very happy that we have that and that we have that in place, and I'm very proud of it that people like it. And we do now an event for Pride, and myself, I got educated because I wanted to do like a big wagon and go to the Pride, and everyone told me that it's actually only for white men that are gay, and I was like, you're actually right. Like I never noticed, but it's not very inclusive. Like a very big gay celebration that is excluding lesbians and this. So it's very interesting for me to learn more and to also hear from younger people that are much more in the know of certain new things and values that I even have to be educated about.
So, and you have this as you talk about them as energy groups that are focusing on a special topic.
Yeah, I think it stands for Energy and Research Group, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so we also invite people and speakers to talk about certain topics and get educated more and listen to other people and what their values are. I mean, this then really like drips down to us having non-binary models in our online shop, things like that. You know, one could also argue a non-binary identifying person might not sell the product as much as a hot guy with muscles, but I think it's the time to show different variations and different identities and different realities of people, and not just and that even price-wise, like, you know, without even talking about identity, but talking about what is realistic and what is because the prices are going up so crazy much. Like I haven't bought a luxury piece in a very long time because I find it stupid that things that have cost like, I don't know, half of the price 2 years ago, and the luxury brands are telling me we just do it because we can. I'm like, well, that's stupid. Like, there's no other way of explaining it. And then I also stopped supporting those brands and being inclusive also price-wise, and finding new brands, new creators that are doing projects in a way that feel much closer to reality, to your pocket and your mind also.
I think that this having groups or forming groups within the company that are taking care about special needs and issues and challenges, I think it's very interesting and helpful. And I think this is, a great takeaway. So from me speaking, working in a publishing company, I think that's really good input. And this is another point I would say about breaking barriers, that it's like using new techniques to handle the upcoming challenges or the existing challenges. Do you use specific working models, tools, platforms to strive for change, if it's circularity or any other aspect? At eBay or at your company?
We 3D print, and all our glasses come in 3 nose profiles in 3 sizes. Before that, we made custom frames where we created an app where we scanned our customers' their face. So we got a lot of data, and based on that data, we categorized the nose profiles in the sizes. So in that sense, we use technology to basically scale the business, but also to be an inclusive company.
What about you?
We have 2 big lighthouse projects. One is Life Hamburg, where we build a big house for lifelong learning and community. As you said already, education and lifelong learning is such a big topic for every one of us because our world is changing so quick. So we always have to learn new everything, and I think that's great. So we try to open places where we can really make future together and just be open. And we also have Holy, which is a digital platform where we also try to build a framework for everyone who wants to be a good changer, which can also be craftsmanship, of course, and new ways of design, because I think in this digital world it's more important than ever that we also do things with our hands, that we don't lose the contact to nature and try to be really connected with everything, not of course the community, but also with everything else. So but we still have this approach that we want to make the as I already said a place where people just can strive and live their best way and live their purpose. And so I think that's our way.
Yeah. Just to mirror that, it was interesting what you were saying, Herbert. We've got what we call communities of inclusion. We've got about 10 of them at eBay, some more in different markets, and that could be your socioeconomic status, your religious background. It could be anything, and we have these groups at eBay, so we can work to better educate ourselves. And then also get feedback from our community, so buyers or sellers, so that we can make sure that our eBay is as inclusive as possible, and we can represent on everybody in the community. And often we can take, the feedback that we get from certain groups, or could it be small businesses, and then we can use that for good. So we can lobby with government about, could it be rates, it could be, from lots of different things. And so because we have so many customers, we try to make sure that we're always getting feedback through them, through technology, through lots of routes, and then we can consolidate that and use that for good.
Mm-hmm. Maybe one thing that is not a tool, but I think also when the Black Lives Matter movement started, we also realized that our main customers and our main readers are in the States, and we need to also do the change within the company, because we're based in Berlin, and you just work along and you hire, and you're kind of not facing the actual problem, which is being also inclusive with hiring. So what we also did was hiring a new person for head of HR, and we talk a lot about that, how do we give everyone the same chance, and also people who on paper actually don't really have a CV that says fashion or creative direction, and still, as a white man, I'm not complaining, but same story. I had nothing to do with fashion when I started in fashion, but I got that one chance, like as a geographer in a PR agency, and they were like, "What are you doing here?" And I was like, "Well, I like fashion, I like design." They said, "Yeah, let's try it." And eventually they would keep me, and then one thing leads to the other. And this always teaches me that CV is great, and it's great to show what you did, but you have to start somewhere, and you need to get that chance from somewhere. And especially in our field, where it's not often about being good at physics and maths and this and that. It's about the gut feeling that you have for what is nice, what looks great, what speaks to people, what is great style anyways. Like, so you really have to give people the chance to have that one first moment to show what you can do, and the willingness that you have to do. And so without having tools, I think hiring the right people and in the right way is such a big change. And same story, I arrived at Highsnobiety, there was a big welcome, and I said hi to everyone, and then apparently immediately I said that I'm gay, and then 2 people came to me afterwards and said, "Wow, this was so cool that you said that you're gay." And I was like, "Why?" And they were like, "Yeah, because we don't really speak about it." And now, like I said, we have like a community of 50 people that are in my ERG because we started hiring in a completely different way, and now we are the most flamboyant creative team, and I'm so proud that all these young queer people are there, and they strive, and it's a fun vibe. So
I think that having the chance to establish something new, I think this is very important. Yesterday I met a designer, and she created vegan leather out of red wine, and this is amazing. But she has no money to get the patent for it, and so she thinks about crowdfunding, so getting the community in, and again, this community thought that can give something back. I think this is so interesting. And what would you say? Can the creative community push circularity, and how far, and in which field? So, what is it at your side, for example? So, do you have feedback from the community that really brings new input where you think, yes, this is what we need?
So we actually did a crowdfunding campaign on Kickstarter. So we basically kicked off the company with a community. What was quite interesting, because when we went live, nobody knew about us. And after the campaign, we had 500 backers. And we're still in contact with some of the early backers. They tell us what they like. They always give feedback, even though we don't always ask for it. But it's amazing to have like a small core, like people that believed in you even before we had a first product, actually just a fancy video. And in general, for any business, I believe that it's important to keep in touch with your consumer, because you're in business because of them. And the better you can cater to them, the more likely it will be that they stay customers.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. What about you?
Yeah, it's interesting. Look, I think a lot of the new ideas and creative ideas come from people that are probably not working yet, or not bound by the restraints of what they can and can't do working for a company. So one of the things that we launched, we've just had our second one, was we launched a circular innovation fund, and that was purposely to work with small or young businesses or entrepreneurs that had ideas that hadn't got it off the ground yet, to listen about those ideas, and so that we could not just support them with some grants. Actually, a lot of these individuals or businesses, they actually need mentorship before they need money. Everyone needs money. Like, that's actually quite easy for a company like eBay to do, but the mentorship was the bit that was the feedback that was most valuable. So we brought together a panel of sort of experts to work with a group of businesses that we finalised. So we had thousands of applications for this. Some of the ideas are amazing. So taking waste, using that for dyes, like loads of amazing technology ideas. And we run workshops to help mentor some of these individuals to help them scale and grow their businesses. And then, we have a final winner where we give them a bigger pot of money so that they can really take that idea and bring it to market. But I think it's not just about money. I think it's the mentorship that's and steering people. I was talking with the Fashion Council about actually just unlocking doors for people, that can be so much more valuable. And so that's why we launched the Circular Innovation Fund. We've done it twice. We will be doing it again, and it will be bigger and better. So if you know of people that have got new ideas, watch this space.
And this is another thought of circularity, actually. I think, it's what you bring in,
Yep.
unlocking doors, bringing in new people, getting the possibility, or bringing the possibility to them, you will get something in return. And so this is circularity more on a mental and a creative thing. And this is what you actually do too, right?
Yeah.
Are there people who were part of the project once and now, or more on a, let's say, customer side, and are now working for you?
Of course, I think
so, yeah.
and that's so important, that always we look beyond like just one circle, one bubble, and just try to be open and bring it all, bring just the best out of the people and the best ideas. I mean, you made this great example. I mean, at the end, as you said already, nobody can do it alone. The greatest idea can be there, but if you don't have the money, if you don't have the knowing about organization, building something up, you won't make it. So it's so important to get to know, network, and just talk to people and everything. Yeah.
I just have to check the time, actually. Okay. Okay, one last question. Okay, let me see. One last question. Okay, let's look into the future maybe. So talking about community circularity, what are, in your special field, the challenges, or where do you see the challenges about circularity in, let's say, 1 year, 2 years, or what is like now something you have to face? So start with you.
I think for us, our customers don't necessarily expect it, but the world does. So you have to find a balance. How are you going to approach that? I think the company is, like the way we operate is very lean. But yeah, it's a bit difficult because you always have to keep your customers in mind. But then again, it's an important topic, so you cannot ignore it. We're not ignoring it, but it doesn't have the main focus at the moment. So I guess the challenge for us is really finding this line where we actually can do both.
Mm-hmm. I still think awareness is a massive barrier, and I'm still, I would hope to think in 2 years we're in a very different place. And what I mean about that is, there's a lot of people that are enthusiastic about making circular choices. They say it. Do they actually do that when they come to making purchasing decisions? And maybe not. And whether you're motivated by trying to save money, make a more sustainable choice, or just because it's more fashionable, that's fine. But I still think this space is quite overwhelming for the general customer. So if I said to my mum or someone walking down the street, what do you think about re-commerce? Honestly, I'm not sure they would know. Hopefully my mum knows now. But I'm still not sure that they would know what that means. Is it, does that mean going to a charity shop? Does that mean buying secondhand? Should I be vegan? There's a lot of information out there. And, one of the things that we've tried to do is just be really clear with our mission to make it really simple, to think pre-loved first is what we've said for fashion, so that you can create behaviour change. So the industry's doing amazing things. We've just got to bridge that gap with what consumers do or understand and think with how the industry is moving. And that's why it's great for us all to come together to think about how we can do that.
Awesome.
I would say with our foundation, our vision is conscious people for a healthy planet, because, as you said, I think in these times where everything is so uncertain and nobody knows what's going on tomorrow, it is important that we are conscious about what we really need in life and what we really want, because otherwise we will always go into fear and try to focus just on safety, but that's not the right way to drive circularity and to make the changes we need to make today and tomorrow for better good for the future. So couldn't agree more on what you said. And I think we, as difficult as it is in these times, we have to be conscious about what we really need and be purpose-driven, and also have the trust that we can change the world. I'm very convinced that everybody can change the world, and if they are strong enough to go their way, they will be surprised how much and how far they can go when they do it together with other people.
Thank you. What about you, Herbert? What do you think?
I'm like really depressed right now because I come back from fashion weeks and the online market is completely dead. Like I heard it from all the shops. Every shop is completely full. Everyone was completely greedy after the pandemic, buying more, producing more, and now the market is so saturated and everyone is kind of on standby waiting what is going to happen next. And it's not, when the world goes down, you don't have to look chic somehow. So it feels like people are more conscious, and I'm super happy about it, to be honest, and not from a business perspective, but from a personal perspective. Someone told me the other day that there's enough clothing on the planet that 4 generations have enough. So I hope very much that more people are looking into buying things that already exist. And like literally, I was not a vintage person, but like the past years, I became almost addicted, checking out where can I find this, and from this collection, I love this sweater, and I love to hunt these things that not everyone can buy from a rack just because you have money. So I hope there's a big thinking back from the greed from big brands, from shops, and that people just start using what they already wear, invite friends over to do outfit checks of what you actually have, and start appreciating what you have. And again, I have the wrong job, I think, to say this, but it's interesting times for sure.
All right. True. Thank you so much. It was really very excited. I was very excited to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
For the insights. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Special guest, Franz Josef. He can't live without me, so I had to take him. A really, really warm thank you from me to everyone who participated over the last 3 days here in our talks. A thank you to our home for 3 days, the Cooper Garages, to Vogue Business, to eBay, but we'll come to that in a minute. For me, this project actually, in the preparation, was one of the most boring ones. I had nothing else to do than constantly say, oh yes, I like the title, I like the panel talks, I like the speakers. Will we get them? Yes, we'll get them. Don't worry. And all this was possible. Where is she? Anne. Really, a big applause for Anne. And another big applause for the lady in the background over there, Antara, part of the Fashion Council Germany team. They made this possible. So that's why this was one of the most boring projects in the preparation. I like these formats because it's about dialogue. It's about dialogue about topics of the future, topics that we should be speaking more about. We will continue this format. It will be digital over the next couple of months. I just decided that a few minutes ago.
Okay, brilliant.
In our ReFashion Academy, we will continue to have these kind of panel talks, and I'm quite sure that we'll be back next year. Yeah. So please continue to talk about circularity, talk about sustainable new ways of working in the fashion industry, and hopefully see you soon again.
Thank you. I just want to echo everything that Scott said. It's been a brilliant few days here in Berlin, and I personally have learned a lot from the inspiring speakers about their thoughts and their views and their ideas and understanding their challenges. So I'm personally going to take a lot away with me from the last few days that we've had here. I talked about it before. eBay has championed circularity for a long time. So I don't know if you know, but 40% of what is sold on eBay is either pre-loved or refurbished. But we know that we can do more, and we can do more if we come together. And that's precisely why we partnered with the Fashion Council here, so that we can bring like-minded people that really want to tackle the challenge of particularly fashion circularity in the industry. So thank you for all the amazing speakers, as you said, and thank you for all engaging in the conversation. And I'm looking forward to next year when we can make this even bigger and louder and better, so that we can keep the momentum going. So I think thank you, everybody, and enjoy the rest of Fashion Week.